Tell us about the economy.
Well, the economy, as you have indicated, is in pretty bad shape. The ruble has lost 50% of its value this year. A year ago, the Russians would have said they wanted or needed $100 oil in order for them to balance their budget and move forward, when we know that oil is, about $53 a barrel now. So, and they are facing a recession. The former finance minister, Alexei Kudrin, has said that. So all of the economic indicators look pretty bad, and as long as the Western sanctions continue, there'll be less confidence about investing in Russia.
So the economic indicators look pretty bad, and of course the big fear for investors globally is contagion. Jim Rickards, you were general counsel for long-term capital management. You negotiated the 1998 Fed bailout of the fund in the wake of the Russian default. Will the plunge in oil, this turmoil in Russia, take down another hedge fund? Will we see contagion?
Well, I think we will, Scarlett. Unfortunately, this bears a resemblance. This resembles 1997, 1998, in my view, more than it resembles the 2007, 2008 panic. Remember, that started in Thailand in June of 1997. Then it spread to Indonesia, then to South Korea. There was blood in the street in both places. There were riots and people were killed. Then it spread to Russia. Then it was people expected it to go to Brazil, but what happened was up popped long-term capital management, which had this web of trillions of dollars of derivatives, and that became the eye of the storm at that time. But that took over a year to play out, and it was the classic example of contagion. So yes, you do have that possibility today. Now, as you talked about how bad the Russian economy is, okay, they don't have that much external dollar-denominated sovereign debt. It's very small relative to their GDP. But there's a lot of dollar-denominated corporate debt that they may not be able to pay. They'll be able to pay it for a year, but beyond 2015, their reserves might run out. If that stuff starts to default, who owns it? Well, it's owned by U.S. mutual fund investors. It's in 401ks. Some of it's in European banks. If you own Banco Santander, and Banco Santander is a big slug of Russian corporate debt, how does that play out? So this is how contagion, you can point a finger at the Russians, but when that debt goes down, it's going to come back to haunt us. That's contagion.
Angela, I wonder, when you look at Putin's relationship with the oligarchs, how that's changed and what influence they have on the decisions that Putin's making that are making things hard for Russia and for the ruble.
I don't think they have too much influence at all. I think one indicator was a few months ago when Vladimir Yevtushenko, who was someone who hadn't criticized President Putin, who played by the rules, was placed under house arrest. He was only released in December, and that's after they took over an oil company that he had bought. And I think the message to the other oligarchs is you have to keep your mouth shut. And hopefully, if you do that, nothing's going to happen to you. We've had Alexei Kudrin, the former finance minister, saying that Russia should rethink what it's doing, should improve its relations with the West. It shouldn't be isolated. This is bad for the Russian economy and bad for the Russian people. But at the moment, I don't think that that message is going through. And I think that the oligarchs really those are not the people that President Putin's listening to.
Angela Stent, does Angela Merkel of Germany need to rethink her relationship with Vladimir Putin?
Well, she's already rethought her relationship with Vladimir Putin. It was clear the speech she gave in Australia a couple of months ago. She realizes that this is a man with whom it's very difficult to do business, even though she has talked to him more than any other Western leader has, and she continues to talk to him. But she and even her social democratic partners realize that they shouldn't make concessions to Russia. They shouldn't lift the sanctions yet, because, in fact, Russia has done nothing to ease the situation in Ukraine.